I thought today we'd just get back to basics. We've done a lot of videos lately about the lifestyle, about the money, about careers, about lowering pressure. But I thought it was time just to get back to basics again and just sit and have a chill for a minute. After a long day at work and you've had all the noise and the pressure, and then you've come home and you've been on the road and you've driven home and it's pressure and noise, and then you've put the radio on in the car even if you didn't really want the radio on in the car because it's background noise, and everything in life seems to be background noise. And then you get home and it's more background noise because for some reason you've put the television on even if you didn't really want it on, and it's background noise. And you can perhaps hear traffic outside, background noise. Everything is background noise, there's no silence. And it's nice to just get out somewhere where there is absolutely no background noise, when the noise that's coming through to you is natural. The noise of the leaves blowing, the noise of a bird up in the trees, noise of other birds somewhere going off into the distance, and that's the only noise you can hear. And it's natural and it feels natural. But we don't do this often enough because we accept that the noise we get at work, the noise we get at school, the noise we get as we're going round our lives is normal. It's expected. But it isn't. And it was only, think about it, it was only a couple of generations ago that this background noise didn't exist. Before cars, before traffic, there was a more natural background noise all across the countryside, all across the urban landscape. A peaceful, nice background noise. Even if you're at home and you can't get out, or even if you're in a city and it's difficult to find somewhere with a bit of peace, just trying to find somewhere, a park or somewhere that's fairly quiet in the house. And I used to do this once a week. I always used to do this on Sunday evening. I think it's when I did like my logs for work before I handed them in on Monday morning. And I'd turn everything off. And the kids would be playing, but the telly would be on. And I'd turn it off. And you had no idea the difference. The quiet was profound. Silence was deafening. Turning that telly off, boom. And it didn't just affect your ears. It just affected the way you breathed. It affected your heart rate. You could actually feel the pressure of silence. When everything goes quiet, you notice when everything goes quiet, it's almost as like your eyes don't go about as much. Your heart seems to quieten down. None of your senses have got as much to do. It's as if they're all taking a breather, taking a quiet minute, and your breath comes easier. It's so nice, it's so peaceful. And the longer you sit there in silence, the memory of the noise that was only a couple of minutes before almost goes. The silence becomes almost eternal. It's only about 5 minutes before, but in your perception it feels like the silence that you started by turning the telly off was a long time ago. And it does get to a point where you don't want that to stop. You want the silence, and then once you've found that place where you want the silence, you found the sweet spot. You found your own sweet spot. It might not be complete silence. You might not feel comfortable with complete silence. It can be a bit intimidating, complete silence. It may be a bit claustrophobic, complete silence. But you will find your own sweet spot. And once you get there, remember the circumstances, remember where you were and what you did. And that means then you've got an equation you can go to. You've got a set of things that you can either turn on, turn off, go here, go there, and it's somewhere you can go for peace. And it may be for 5 minutes, it may be for 5 hours, but it will be for as long as it needs to be. We're here this evening with the side of a lake, and the wind's blowing in the trees, there's water's lapping against the shore. Molly's just sitting here quietly, and we won't stay that long, but we'll be here for about an hour, and that will be enough. And we will go away from here feeling peaceful, and because it's the evening, we will then get home probably about 8 o'clock in the evening. And that's nice then, because then you can kind of wind down. Don't start anything else that's too stimulating. Don't start playing the drums or anything like that. Have a read. Have a cup of tea, coffee, glass of wine, glass of beer, whatever you want to do. Just sit in silence. And this is what I mean about, we've been talking about how to run life, but we've not talked about how to not run life, how to run not life as it should be. We're not running that life, we're running a not life. And I think everybody needs to do that. And I think everybody will get a lot of value and reward out of it. It may sound like a bit of gobbledygook, but it's kind of, I hope that I can say I come up with 10 ideas and you dismiss 9 of them, but you pick up on one of them, then it's worth it, isn't it? Because you may have gone through life with something not quite wrong, something missing that could have just given you that tiny little bit more peace. And when you finally find out, you think, God, I wish I'd been doing that for the last 20 years. And it might be something as simple as one night a week, turning the telly off in the evening and sitting in the silence. It might all be as easy as that. I think I am more aware of the sounds of nature now that I have actually turned off. If you're in an environment that's noisy, or at least an environment where sound is coming into it, right, there will be one major sound. There will be one dominant sound. You put the radio on, you put the television on, things beyond that, because you're concentrating on one thing, things beyond that are muffled. I find it difficult to talk on the telephone when the television is on. And I don't know whether that's just because I'm a bloke and I'm not very good at multitasking, but I also think that in life you've got dominant sounds, and it's probably the loudest one that you're hearing at the time. So you've got a dominant sound, and everything else hasn't got the same clarity. If you hear a guitar solo in a song, you concentrate on the guitar solo, there may be something really intricate going on in the background. You will notice that once that guitar becomes part of the whole again. But once that guitar is playing a solo, everything else behind it kind of doesn't come through with the clarity. And I think nature is like that, and sound is like that, and life is like that, that there's a dominant sound. You put the television on, and you put the radio on, and then everything else is muted. And you come into nature, but it's quiet here. So there doesn't feel like, at the moment, there is no dominant sound. So it is very quiet. And that's why when you're sitting in nature, it is very, very quiet and very peaceful. And you can almost go into like a meditative state, just being here, just turning off. And then a dog will bark. And it brings you out of it completely, doesn't it? It brings you out of it so sharply, it can almost annoy you. Bloody dog brought me out of that. So nature is like that. Nature is background until something comes in to be dominant. But it's getting quieter and quieter all the time. As the evening comes in, it's as if the air thickens up a little bit. gets a bit more cloying. And it is. The birds, and I think it's kind of that time when the birds are thinking about going to roost. So the bird song has suddenly gone. It's almost gone. The trees are quieter. The leaves, they're like just getting a little bit louder as a bit of wind goes through them and then dying back again. I'm looking at them now and I can see them all dancing about in the wind. And they drop, the wind drops and they drop and they go still. So I think it's nice to get back to basics. And you can do it in nature, you can do it at home. Do it in nature, go somewhere quiet. Your senses slow down. Your eyeballs slow down, your ears slow down, your breathing slows down, your heart rate slows down, everything slows down. Do it in nature, do it at home. It's worth it, it really is worth it. Do it. Do you want to go for a walk now, Molly? You do, don't you? Her little ears are up, she's staring at me. There she is. Hello. Are you ready for going for a little walk now, Molly? We're going to carry on for a walk now, I think, for a bit. Just until we feel like going home. Till we've had enough, till my body's told me I've had enough, till my body tells me my mind's at peace. And then we'll go home and chill. Until we see you on the flip, of course. So peace and love.